have some headsets, perhaps?
Yeah, they're going to bring out some chairs for us.
Okay, good. All right, so I think how we're going to do this is you raise your hand. There will be someone with a mic who will come and ask questions, let you ask some questions.
Well, it didn't take long.
But that did not take long.
Great.
Thank you. You notice the Beats audio headphones. I think the way you're supposed to really wear these.
Brands there is.
What?
One of the hottest consumer brands.
Exactly. And I think what you're really supposed to do is wear them with the plug unplugged.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, so are we supposed to call on the folks, do you think?
I think we can.
All right. There was someone here in the front row who I saw you with your hand. You already got a mic. Okay, you're good to go.
Thanks. I was supposed to be number 3. Todd, we have met last time some 10 years back. I was missing your product lineup here is more like in 2007. I was missing tablets, smartphones, all this mobility stuff, where most of the people has access to the internet right now. How about this? When will we see some products in these spaces?
So we've talked a lot about tablets and other connected products. I think we've been very public with the fact we're working closely with Microsoft to do a Windows 8 tablet. So we'll talk more about tablets after this show. This event was about thin, about light, about ultra-mobility, and we have a very, very deep focus on mobility that you'll continue to see us roll products out throughout the year.
Great. All right, other questions? Why don't we take a few right over here? Okay, great, you've got it.
London Weekly from
hang on one second.
It's okay. In terms of the global IT market changing so fast in recent years, so what are the major challenges for you and HP are facing now?
So the question was all around our strategy with the continual rapid evolution of the IT industry. Look, I think there are several. Meg can certainly speak to broad HP's strategic focus. As we think about PPS and how we focus on this, it's really about the individual product. The individual product that allows you to connect and consume all of the information, all of the content available in the world today. And from an HP level...
Yep. Well, let me first talk a little bit about the enterprise, and then we can talk about the consumer. From the enterprise, we've identified 3 very significant shifts in the technology industry. If you think about it, going all the way back to the mainframe and the change to the client-server environment, from client-server to Web 1.0, which of course I was deeply involved in when I ran eBay, to Web 2.0, these are some of the biggest shifts we've seen in the technology business in our career. And we're about to see another couple of very big shifts. So we aim to be a leader in cloud computing. And we bring a whole host of benefits to this that no other company can. I don't know how many of you know, but we are in fact the largest provider today of private clouds. Over 600 customer installations of private cloud. We are in beta with our public cloud, and we will be able to deliver seamlessly between a private cloud, a public cloud, and a hybrid environment. The other big change we see is around security. When I started at eBay, the hackers were teenagers just doing it for fun. Today, obviously, this is a global threat to every institution that holds customer data or sensitive information. And we aim to bring a suite of products, the most secure hardware devices, the most secure software applications, the ability to secure your environment. And then last but not least, another huge change that we see is around big data and analytics. Data is exploding. It used to be structured data, name, address, telephone number, identity card number. Today, data is exploding. Only 15% of information is structured. The rest is unstructured. And with our acquisition of Autonomy and Vertica, we have an opportunity to redefine that space. So those are some of the things that we're working on. On the consumer space, The great thing about for us is being in the consumer space and the enterprise space, because consumer cycles are much faster. We have to be crisp, we have to be smart, and with the convergence of all employees are also consumers today, as I said in my talk, I think this gives us an advantage to bring to the enterprise smart, desirable consumer devices that stand on their own right in a consumer market, but are really fantastic in the context of a secure environment with the enterprise. So that's the general strategy. And we have to be faster, we have to be more agile, we have got to stay ahead of the trends, and that's what we aim to do with HP. Thanks. Let's see. Why don't we go right there in the back with the pink band.
With the shift toward consumerization of IT, the bring your own device trend, do you see an eventual transition away from the current structure of business PCs, business devices, and consumer devices? Do you see that infrastructure evolving as well?
Yeah.
So we've already started that transition. We believe in the ubiquity of the solution for a consumer or an enterprise. The security that's important to the enterprise is obviously important to you as a consumer. Back in June, we structurally changed our business to focus on value and volume, as well as commercial. The Folio was really the first product that came out of that transition, that one product is sold across our channels and across our business. So I think we're well down the path of executing to that model.
I think the winner in the enterprise space is those companies who can design fantastic devices that consumers want, that are uniquely available to them in the consumer space, but also allow them to do real work and real productivity, and can seamlessly go back and forth between, when you're on the train maybe doing Facebook, but when you're in your office having to do real work and productivity. Thanks. Yeah, why don't we go over here, right there in the blue.
喂，你好，我是来自中国的 IT 经理世界的杂志社的记者。我一共有2个问题，第一个是问中国市场的，是4月16号您来到中国去了一趟重庆，然后到现在已经隔了20多天了，能不能说一下您的详细行程？就重庆之后您又去了什么地方？这是第一个问题。第二个问题是关于中国市场，就是说现在中国惠普现在也认为中国是最大的 PC 市场，就是很多 PC 厂商也这么认为。然后，但是惠普去年在中国 PC 的占有率可能只有5%多，已经远远的被联想呀、宏基啊、华硕这些 PC 厂商就甩到了身后。惠普准备如何振兴中国的市场？
Yeah, you can start.
So, first, our trip, I guess 2 weeks ago to China, we met with multiple sets of partners here. Great customers, great partners in various city governments, and I think mutually focused on how we would broadly support growth. Now, Chongqing, we were fortunate enough to meet with the Vice Premier of China, who was obviously very supportive of the work we've done in concert with the government to move our technology platform into Western China. As far as China is the market, it is now the largest PC market in the world. Well documented, good growth opportunities that span a broad section of segments. From the rural PC program that we participate in the far western side of the country to the markets here in Shanghai and Beijing, we don't see any market to anyone. The importance of understanding Chinese customers both in China and for China is playing out for us in a multitude of ways. We've opened Chinese development centers strictly focused on the market here in Shanghai to develop both printers as well as PCs. The focus on discrete graphics that are unique to this market versus others are all things you're seeing come into the market. But I think the other thing important in China is the very rapid evolution of the channel structure. the success of the Sunings and the Gourmets, the large format retailers, the success of the internet channel with people like 360buy.com, who are becoming very, very important partners for Hewlett-Packard. All these things are A, ways that we will serve our customers better, B, ways we'll learn to serve the world better.
The only thing I would add to that is being successful in China requires commitment, it requires dedication, and it requires unique product for the Chinese market. And we aim to do all of those things. We also aim to be one of the very best employers in China. We're going to invest in our people in China. We're going to invest in our R&D centers here and our design centers and our manufacturing centers. So we are 100% committed to the PC business and the printing business in China, and we're 100% committed to our people in China. Yeah, right there with the HP sign.
Two questions. First, I just wonder, what kind of measures are you going to take in order to combine IPG and the PSD into PPG? Because after all, in the past decades, they are very highly independent, just like two companies. So I wonder, have you ever estimated any immediate negative impact before you announce this information, or any obstacles from inside? My second question, I just wonder, what is the appropriate way to work with the HP board, which is famous for its internal conflict in the past 3 years?
Was the last question about the HP board?
Yes, what is the appropriate way to work with HP board, which is famous for its internal conflict in the past 3 years?
Can you try one more time? I'm sorry.
He's asking about the corporate board?
As a CEO, what is the appropriate way
okay.
to work with?
All right. First, yeah, good. Okay.
So why don't you
give that one a try?
why don't you let me take PPS and then you can take the HP board.
Okay.
Look, I think there are a whole host of ways that we will measure our success. I think the strategy was very, very clear. One of focusing on that creation of creation and consumption of content and doing it across multiple sets of platforms. You know, whether it's document management flow, the movement of ink into the business world, the ability to seamlessly connect an HP product to an HP printer to meet a consumer need, you know, is a natural step forward in our evolution as a company and our evolution in serving customer needs better than we've ever done before. So, you know, I think the business models are somewhat different. Clearly, the PC business is a high velocity, low margin, lower margin business that innovates both in its business model as well as in its products. And our printing business is one that's invested for years in innovation, frankly, in creating a consumer printing business. It's our ability to blend the best of those two models to make a better whole what our focus is.
So let me answer the question about the HP board. I think, you know, the challenges that HP has been through over the last several years with, you know, a number of different CEOs and some of the challenges around the board have been well documented. And we have a phrase at HP, we cannot change the past, but we can change the future. And we are focused on the future with now, I think, a very good board of very accomplished individuals, many of whom were new in the last year. And we're working closely with that board to plot a new future for HP. And I involved this board probably more than many chief executive officers. On their first board meeting, they came to our global sales kickoff. Next week, or 2 weeks from now, they'll be down in San Diego at a board meeting to get a real up-close and personal vision for our printing business. So this board is deeply engaged. It is, I said, a collection of terrific individuals, and we are all about plotting a brighter future for HP. Yeah, right there, a woman in the white T-shirt with the sweater.
你好，我来自那个通信世界周刊中国的。然后我有2个问题想问一下。第一个问题是，就是相比上一任就是 CEO， 就是把 PC 部门整个分割出去，然后业界都传我们惠普转型的一个方向，就类似于 IBM 全转型于服务 和软件。然后现在今天像惠普又重申对于硬件的一个投入的一个信心和那个态度，您觉得这个就是这样布局有哪些方面的一些好处？然后另外一个问题，我想了解一下惠普下一阶段在那个平板方面的一个布局是就是将来会只采用就是 Windows Phone 的那个操作系统，还是说各个操作系统包括安卓之类的都有可能会有布局？因为那个平板也是将来的终端的一个方面嘛。谢谢。
I'll take the first one. So with regard to HP's strategy, what I can tell you is HP's strategy under, our leadership, Todd's and mine and our entire business is around three things. Really, it's first and foremost, we are a hardware company. We're really proud of that. 70% of HP's revenues come from servers, software, networking, PCs, and printing. And we are the best in the world with those businesses. We are putting money into R&D. We aim to differentiate those businesses in ways that are going to, I think, surprise the industry. Now, we are in the software business, but we are not in the software business to transform HP into a software company. We're in the software business to solve some of our customers' toughest problems. And whether that is applications, apps and ops software, orchestration or monitoring, whether that is security software or big data and analytics. So again, we're not transforming HP into a software company. We're trying to solve our customers' biggest problems. And then from a services perspective, services is an important part of our strategy. But unlike IBM, which has the bulk of its revenue in services, we have a very big and important services business, but it is designed to provide solutions wrapping all of HP's products in a way that is uniquely designed for our customers. And then, as I said, from a corporate perspective, we want to be a leader in cloud, we want to be a leader in security, and we want to be a leader in information optimization. And so that is the go-forward strategy of HP. And while a little different than my predecessors, I think makes an enormous amount of sense for Hewlett-Packard. Because I'm a big believer, when you plot a company's strategy, you have to take stock of what that company does well and build on those strengths. And that's what we tried to do with our strategy. So you can talk a little bit about tablets.
Yeah, tablets. So I think I've answered this in many ways, but or many times in the same way. Our stated tablet strategy is around partnering with Microsoft and bringing a Windows 8 tablet into the marketplace. That's not to say that is forever. I think it's clear that markets evolve, markets change. I think when we announce the roadmap of tablets, we'll find a very, very compelling solution set that the tablet becomes a part of. I think it's very much about how do people consume data. It's not as much about the creation of data, which is why we've separated them from a launch perspective. So I'm very comfortable with where we're going with tablets. I know we will have very competitive products with probably more of an enterprise and small business focus than a consumer focus, which I think is which we're all very, very supportive of and have a great solution to bring into the marketplace.
Yeah, way over there. We haven't gone to the right yet with the orange neckband.
Hi. I haven't had anything to do with the emerging markets. What are you doing in Africa? And since the event started, I really haven't had anything to do with Africa.
Yeah.
No tests, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my concern.
So I'll give you the overall corporate point of view. So we are obviously very focused on emerging markets. And of course, the world used to define emerging markets as Brazil, Russia, India, and China. I would hardly describe China as an emerging market anymore. It's the largest. It's emerged and it is the largest PC and technology market in the world. But we remain very focused on Brazil and Russia and India. But we are also very interested in determining how we can have a presence in Africa. And the particular countries that we are interested in Africa is Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa. We have a small base of operation in several of those countries. We have a strong distributor network or value-added resource network. But my belief is Africa may well be where China was 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Poised for growth, poised for enablement of small businesses, poised for the enablement of individuals to access technology. So we understand exactly what's going on in Africa, and we're trying to decide how much to invest and how to best participate in those three markets. It doesn't mean we won't go to other countries there. We distribute in all countries of Africa today, but I'm a big believer in focus. And when you go to a country like Africa, where are you going to place your big bets? Because if you could win in those three markets, that allows you to win in other markets as well. So thank you for the question. We have not forgotten about Africa at all. Yeah, right here in the front with the orange necktie.
Can you tell us about HP's strategy regarding cloud services and consumers? We heard that you have a very strong portfolio regarding enterprise clients and cloud services, but what about the consumer sector?
Yeah. Well, I can talk a little bit about corporate. Maybe you can talk about the web-enabled devices. So we have spent time in two different areas. First and foremost is the enterprise strategy. That is where I think we have an enormous competitive advantage, because if we can create a public cloud built on OpenStack that is remarkably secure, that seamlessly allows customers to set up a test dev environment in a public cloud, but have their main business in a private cloud and work seamlessly on one architecture, that's going to differentiate us. But we have not forgotten about the public cloud, the personal cloud for individuals. And probably the best exhibition or the best exhibit of that is really what we're doing in our printing business.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair to say. We've done a lot of work that you'll see. Some of it I think is at the show, and you'll see further on, where we've created a consumer cloud to store that content that's important. To access this, to print it. As we put PPS together, you'll see a broadening of that access, a broadening of the work we're doing with some of our assets like autonomy to go beyond just content to how do we help you maintain and manage your information across a suite of devices. How does the cloud let you continually access your information anytime, anywhere, on any device that you choose?
All right, we have a thought. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Yeah. Okay.
Jean-Baptiste Su with Expansion in Paris. Just a question. Todd, you mentioned tablets and PCs, smartphones. And Megan, what have you learned from your experience at eBay about China? What if you were doing not half the same sort of output than with eBay? Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, so as I've said, this week is about thin and light products that allow you to create and consume content. As we look at other mobile products, other mobile solutions, we'll announce those in time.
So with regard to what I've learned about China, I had the privilege of spending a lot of time in China as I led eBay. In fact, I lived in Shanghai for one entire summer. And as you know, eBay was very challenged in China, eventually being to some degree eclipsed by Taobao. And although PayPal has been quite successful here. So here's what I learned. Commitment and perseverance to this market is very, very important. The Chinese people and China in general takes a much longer term view, I think, than many Western countries. Second, you must have Chinese people working in China on your products. And third, everything has to be uniquely designed for China. That you have got to have a set of products that are uniquely designed for this market by Chinese. And so that is what we are working towards at Hewlett-Packard. It is not a market where you can take a product or a system that works in Europe or the United States and export to China. You've got to develop things that are uniquely designed for this market, for the price points that are required in this market. And here's where we are advantaged, because we have tremendous manufacturing operations in this market. We make over 90 million PCs in China every year. So all the products that we make in China are for China. And so we have a real base to build on. But I would like, as this is the largest PC market in the world, we need to continue to develop that. And that's why you saw Todd put a design center here in China. And we're going to continue to do that kind of thing. We've got to increase our investment in this country, and we are here for the long haul with a significant investment.
Look, I think the other thing about China that's fair to say is we've been in China for a long time. Hewlett-Packard's been in China for over 20 years, driving solutions, enabling careers for great people that have helped us grow, and we have a commitment to continue to do that.
Right. Right here, there's a woman right here in a black sweater who's had her hand raised.
你好，我来自中国中国青春季报的记者，我有2个问题想问一下。第一个问题是，刚刚您在演讲当中主要提到一个词，就融合。然后您刚说到一个就是企业级的产品跟消费级的产品现在正在进行一个很强的融合。P3 方面我能理解，但是我没有办法理解在打印机方面怎么能做到在企业级和消费级的融合呢？因为你觉得在未来可能会是每个家庭都会拥有一个打印机吗？第二个问题是，您刚说到惠普不会转型成一个纯软件的公司，那么您能不能用一个比较明确的语言告诉我们说，现在惠普是一家什么公司？比如说您之前从在的eBay可能是个电子商务公司，那么现在惠普是一家什么公司？未来5年或10年后，惠普要做一家什么公司？谢谢。
Well, let me start with your last question, and then we can answer the printing question. So, what HP today is the largest technology provider of hardware, software, solutions, and services to individuals and enterprises of all sizes. We are an enormous technology provider with a very proud history in this business. And what we're going to do is we're going to utilize this incredible collection of assets, an incredible commitment to innovation and to design to continue that role. And you will see us committed to the hardware business, whether it's PCs or printers or server storage and network. We aim to be the leader. We're the leader in most of those businesses. Where we're not, we want to stake out a leadership position over time. And we're going to use software, as I said, to solve our customers' toughest problems. And then wrap this all together with our services business to help enterprises go from where they are today to where they want to go. And the challenges facing CIOs today at leading corporations are unlike any challenge they faced in the last 20 years. So that is our objective as a company. We will be great in consumer devices, and we will lead the enterprise in solving the enterprise's toughest problems.
So I'm going to ask, I'm going to repeat your first question. I'm going to ask Steve Nigro, who leads our inkjet business, to help you with an answer. The question revolved around the convergence of the business and consumer space as it relates to printers. I think clearly we have different types of products in different regions. China very strongly driven by our LaserJet business. Other markets split between laser and ink. But I think the glue will be the cloud access to documents, the quick connectivity to a PC or to that content that's important. That'll blur that line between a consumer and a business. So Steve, I don't know if you want to talk about the convergence of the two.
The convergence of consumer printing and business printing?
Please.
Yeah, so definitely one of the trends we see is the trend of basically work coming home or work going on the road. And so what we've seen with that is the type of printing that happens on devices have become broader. And so what you see from the offerings of HP is products that are very versatile. They can do a great job on photo, your creative products, as well as you can do a great job on your business products as well. So one of the real successes we've had is with what we call our Business Ink or our Offset Pro product lineup, which is an inkjet designed for business applications. And so what we've seen with that is actually double-digit growth with double-digit page growth or ink growth. And the fundamental value that ink gives is value. It saves you money. The other thing we announced at this session was the expansion of our Ink Advantage. And Ink Advantage is basically a solution for consumers, again, who want to use their business printing, and we're going to save them money. And on supplies, the price of supplies, the running cost is 50% lower. And we've actually been doing this for the last couple of years, and it's been highly successful. And it really meets the needs of the customers, give them a great quality solution at an affordable price. So we really do think we're playing to that trend, and we're ahead of it.
Thanks.
Yeah, right here in the orange. And then we'll go to you next. Keep it very patient.
Hi, Meg. Nick Baker from KeyBank Technology Dubai. Firstly, the big headphones and the pearls, it's a really good match. You should do them on Friday morning. I was lucky enough to attend your event in Las Vegas, and one of the things you said there, which actually brought about a round of applause from the audience, was your commitment to research and development. How you said that you continue to strive that so HP could continue its innovation. Is a lot of what we've seen today a result of that drive forward and your pledge to continue innovating at HP? Thank you.
So the answer, the question was really about HP's commitment to R&D and was the products that we saw today a result of that. You know, HP has a very proud tradition of innovation. And what the products that you see today, I think, are a result of that tradition. What we have done in 2012 is we've increased the amount of money we spend in R&D, and we're going to do that again in 2013 and 2014. And we will make very strategic bets, but I can assure you that our PPS business, the business that Todd runs, will get more than its fair share of R&D because we see such potential here, not only in the developed markets, but as you said, in the emerging markets. So I think if you are pleased and excited by what you have seen at this event, I hope you will be even more excited next year and the year after, because in my view, we are in a dawn of a new age in innovation at HP. And we are creating the financial capacity to make those long-term investments in R&D. What does not work in R&D is to do R&D for a year and then pull back. Give a little more and then pull back. You have to make a long-term commitment because what's going on in HP Labs today or what's going on in the printing group R&D, you may not see in the market for 2 or 3 or 4 years. So you've got to have the long-term commitment and financial capability to invest. And that is one of the core parts of our strategy for the company.
Okay, I think the only thing I'd add to Meg's comments were, very, very practically, you saw John present earlier today some of the results of our R&D efforts, some of the results of integrating the labs process with our business processes, and I think that's a great example of what we're starting with, and should give you an idea of what we can get to.
I think another great example is the workstation product.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is a product that is revolutionizing the workstation business. And I think you heard from one of our customers, Bandito, about how the workstation business is actually revolutionizing the film business and the editing process. And that's the kind of thing that HP does better than anyone else. As we put R&D money into that area, I think you're going to be amazed. I'm amazed at what we have today. I think you'll be amazed what we bring to market over the next couple of years. Okay. And we're going to go to this guy who's been waiting.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. We've learned a lot about the opportunities that you get by forming PPS. And I've been wondering what this means for employees working in marketing or HR, because I guess there will be some overhead when you put these two divisions together. Can you give us any insights on this? Will there be layoffs? Will you decide on these layoffs in 2 weeks in your board meeting? Can you give us any numbers, probably?
So let me take that. As we create the financial capacity to invest in R&D, invest in our people, invest in customer support, we have to look at how we spend money across HP. This is what great companies do, which are constantly saying, are we spending money in the right place for the biggest return and the best long-term interests of our customers? And that's a process that we're going through. So everything is on the table. But I will tell you, if you think about HP's overall cost structure, the vast majority of our cost structure is in cost of goods sold and procurement. And so we have to think about how we take our supply chain to our best advantage. And here's a very interesting example. So by putting our PC business together with our printing business, it turns out we make printers and PCs in Chongqing. There is a rail line from Chongqing to Western Europe. By having these two businesses together, by focusing on the rail part of transportation, turns out PCs don't take up much space, do they? Little sort of thin boxes. Printers take up a lot of space. So think about our ability to fill rail cars bigger and faster in Chongqing and move to Western Europe. That will be savings for HP and savings for our customers. So those are the kinds of things we are looking at. What I have said, since we are in China, is that there will be no workforce reductions in China on a broad scale at all. This is a growth market for us. We are deeply committed to this market. And so you will not see broad-based workforce reductions at all in China across any of our businesses, not only printing and PCs, but servers, storage, networking, and software. Yeah, maybe right there in the gray, and then we'll come to you.
Hi. It has been almost since 8 months since you became the CEO of HP, and I would like to know what are the main things that you have changed in the way that the company works, and the things that you're still working on that really are you're still strong. Thank you.
Good. So when I came to HP, it is no secret that I came in a troubled time for the company. You know, multiple CEOs are hard on customers, they're hard on employees, hard on partners. So the first thing I tried to do was provide a source of stability. And the first decision I had to make was whether or not we were going to spin off our PC business. And within 30 days, we had done an analysis that indicated very strongly that PCs were absolutely an essential part of Hewlett-Packard, that there was tremendous upside in the business for us. There were tremendous supply chain advantages across all our different product lines. So quite quickly, we made the decision to keep our PC business and, in fact, invest in it. Then the next thing I needed to do was understand what the challenges were around making HP easier to buy from the enterprise perspective, easier for our sales executives to sell, and easier for HP people to get work done. We are a vast and big company, and simplification was going to, in my view, be the key to having HP be more efficient and effective. So we started looking at every business process and saying, how do we make this simpler? How do we make it easier to go to market? How do we make it easier to make decisions within HP? And that was the origins of putting IPG, our printing business, together with our PC business, and taking our global sales force and asking one of our senior leaders, Dave Donatelli, who runs ESSN, to take over that global sales force. We also centralized marketing, and we also centralized sales operations. So we've gone from many, many decision makers in a market to a much smaller number of decision makers. What I believe we've done is we've created a lot more people who can say yes, and a lot fewer people who can say no. And of course, for a big company like HP, that's absolutely essential. We've also renewed our focus on product. At my core, I care about what we deliver to customers. If we don't have the right product for the right customer, at the right time, at the right price, if we don't have the best piece of software or the best service, then we lose. So we have doubled down on our focus around great product, and I hope you see that in terms of what we brought to Shanghai today. But we've got more work to do. This is a journey. I have said it will take time to, I believe, restore HP to where it needs to be in every single one of our business units. It will take some time for the results of that incremental R&D to show itself in the marketplace. So I'm very excited about where we are, but this is a journey. I will say the other thing that I have found about HP is we have one incredible group of employees at this company. Everywhere I travel, whether it's in China or Germany or France or Canada or the UK, it is amazing the quality of HP people. And you know, when I came to the company, it had been through a lot, and I wasn't sure whether we would have everyone we needed. I will tell you, it is the best group of people I've had the privilege of working with in my 30-year career in business.
So I think we have time for one last question.
Okay, I'll let you pick.
You want me to pick? I'm going to take it. I'll take this woman right here with Simon. Please. You. Yes.
我是来自环球企业家杂志的记者。刚才你也刚刚提到了，就是说惠普正在处于一个这个重塑的一个阶段。那我想请问，就是惠特曼女士，您认为这个包括重塑这个企业的架构，以及重新塑造企业的这个文化和价值的这个时间，大概需要多长时间？然后最难的一件事情是什么？然后最急迫的一件事是什么？谢谢。
Well, I think at the beginning when I arrived, the most urgent challenge was to provide stability for HP. HP had been through a lot of change, and as I said, change is hard on employees, it's hard on partners, it's hard on customers. And so first was a stability and an articulation of HP's strategy, at least for the immediate term. And so we did that. From a culture perspective, when I think about culture, the way I approach this is I say, what is fantastic about an organization's culture, and how do we do more of that? And if we focus on what is great about a culture, then it's easier to change things that we think would make a difference. And as I have said, the greatest part of this culture is product-driven engineering culture. I promise you there is no other company that's better in the world at engineering and designing products and bringing them to market. It is a remarkable nearly 75-year history of fantastic engineering-driven culture. So I want to celebrate that. I'm a big believer you have to celebrate who you are and then build from there. So I think we have Todd has put a lot more emphasis on product, on and bringing that great engineering culture forward. And then we have to enable our employees to make it easier to make decisions. I want to make decisions closer to the market. I want to make decisions that are right for customers. China is a very different market, as we've described, than America or Brazil or Africa or Nigeria. So we need to push decision-making down in the organization. And the only way I know how to change culture is by leading by example, which is if you celebrate the kinds of things you want in a company, you have a chance of changing it over time. And you have to enfranchise your senior leadership team. And I think our team is working together better than we have in a long time. And I think that this is starting to get through the organization to celebrate products, to celebrate what we do for customers, and make it easier to work with us and easier to make decisions at HP. So, great.
Well said. So thank you all for coming. We appreciate you understanding our products, understanding our solutions, and spending some time with us this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome